Hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force, and we're back to check out some more Magnus Robot Fighter. This is Steel Nation Part 3 in Magnus number 3. That's a coincidence. But first, before we get into it, just if you enjoy the channel, if you feel like you might want to support me a bit as an artist, what you can do in the description for this video, there's a link to my Patreon. And if you subscribe there, that'll give you access to my Blood Force pages and comics, as well as these videos before they make it to YouTube, usually a week or so in advance. So, let's get into Magnus Robot Fighter number 3. So just a quick recap. It's the year 4001. Magnus is the hero of Northam. He's the Bane, the Scourge. Scourge? Oh shit, now I don't know how to pronounce that. Of robots everywhere. Well, not all of them. And most of them don't care anyway because they're unfeeling automatons. But an event has occurred which has resulted in 10 million robots gaining free will, gaining sentience, and which is a huge threat to Northam, which is completely mechanized. Everything is run by robots. So we got this new factor in the far future with a new race that is demanding its own rights and can infiltrate every aspect of future civilization. It's a massive problem. And Magnus, who at first was all about smashing robots, because that's what he was bred for, now he's having a crisis of conscience, and he doesn't know if he can kill robots that have sentience, because killing is probably what it is, right? And last issue we got into a situation where Magnus got a hold of the leader of the Free Will Robs, OX1, and could have killed him, and didn't do it. Because again, he had a moment where he's, no, we need to negotiate. And the government isn't going to have that. They're all about, peace through superior firepower, theoretically. The only thing they're missing in that equation is the superior firepower. And Magnus is now a fugitive. And is going to have to seek some solace in amongst the Goths. So that's where we start today. So, starting off with the cover, pretty good cover. We've kind of lucked into some quality covers with Art Nichols here, thankfully. Again, Valiant, as they went on, quality covers, quality artwork, really, became less of a priority. At this point, the co-owner of Valiant and writer for Magnus, Jim Shooter, is still determined to put his best foot forward, so we're going to get some good artwork here. And this is one of those moments where you look at it and go, what the hell is going on? That's, Magnus with a Rob, but girly Rob. That's not what Robs usually look like. All right. So, this is Chapter 3 of Steel Nation, Traitor, which is what Magnus is considered now. We're going to open with the state of Northam currently. This is what happens when you have 10 million robots who decide that they need to smash, maybe not the patriarchy, but just the government in question. So they're just going to wreak havoc among the city here. So we're starting here, battle raging in Northam's Civic Center, where city security forces defending the Central Rob complex are under attack by an estimated 600,000 rebel robots. So they're making a concerted push for the robot control center, because if they get that, they can control all of the robots, which is about 15 billion. And if they do that, they get control of the country. And, potentially the world, really. At the very least, they can determine their own fate, which is really all they want. And aside from that, there have also been 5,014 smaller rebel raids against strategic objectives. So they're hitting Northam all over, spreading their forces thin. Although, obviously, Robot Command is going to be the priority for the government here. And pretty good shot. You look at it and it gets across what you need. It also, if you look at it, you go, that wouldn't be that tough. That's single point perspective for the most part. But for a starting splash, you could do worse. You open it up, that is a bit of an oh shit moment. And this is basically modern civilization. So with everything mechanized, the higher status civilians basically continue with their regular life as is. It's a little concerning, but it is, it's off to the side. It's not their problem until, they start losing their utilities or whatever. But this is the state of things when Magnus is no longer around to help defend civilization. And news of his betrayal is being broadcast amongst the Northam residents. So yeah, there's a campaign to bring down Magnus's reputation. And so here we are at the Goff level, and Magnus is found by a lieutenant and his team of security robs, or guard robs, I'm not sure. This isn't the most dramatic way to do this, where you just, oh, there's Magnus. We found him. He wasn't on the run that long. And the lieutenant here tries to negotiate and just go, okay, you're under arrest, so you're coming with us now, because I got like 8 of these robots. And he's used to, if I got 8 robots, then I win, right? Except that it's Magnus. You might as well say, I got 8 holograms with me. You are outnumbered. Magnus asks to see his warrant. So he reaches in his pocket, because he's a fucking moron. And Magnus pounces, sweeps him to the side, and starts smashing robots, as he would. The lieutenant did not see this coming, and is now terrified, so just goes running screaming. And while Magnus is distracted by the lieutenant leaving, he's actually a little bit worried about, because where they are, the Goff lands, is actually, it's a bit dangerous. He shouldn't be taken off like that. But the distraction is enough for one of the guard robs to sneak up behind him and shoot him. His tunic diffuses the blast, but it's still enough to knock him down, and they're able to swarm him. And that's when W-23 comes to his rescue. And if we recall from the last issue, W-23 was a free will rob who was going to assassinate Magnus, but experienced second thoughts, and they had a nice little chat. And, I mean, if W-23 is coming to his rescue, that must mean W-23 is an ally, right? And he's not built for this kind of thing. He's just a food service rob. He's actually pretty brittle. While he did get the jump on them for a second, he's going to get taken apart pretty quick. But the distraction was all Magnus needs to get the upper hand again, and it's Smash City once more. So they're able to get to shelter. Magnus is a little concerned because W-23 is, again, pretty torn up, but able to move at least. That's all that matters. Magnus is sure that W-23 has to go and convince O-1X to stop the assault. And W-23 is like, why would he listen to me? And Magnus is like, I listened to you. Oh, you did? Yes. I must be very persuasive. Yeah. And Magnus is about to leave to go try and defend Central Rob, but he's been going for days without sleep, and he can't actually go for, this was like his last vestige of energy. Not doing a lot with the backgrounds here. Again, enough to get by. I do like how this stuff looks off in the background. It's fairly simplistic, but it gets the point across. And I like the lighting here too, actually. Solar's coming very soon. We'll do solar eventually, at least some of it. So now we're going to cut to Senator Klain making his way to Central Rob. It's not entirely clear that's what's happening. This is Senator Klain's car here. And it's like, it kind of meshes into the background for me. But I like the building here anyway. That looks okay. And Senator Klain gets a full robot escort here, and they're bragging about their air superiority as they're coming in, which of course means they're going to get shot down by the rogue robots here. And they do crash here, but and like it's a little harrowing for a second. It's like, holy shit, are they just gonna like die? And no, they crash, I guess, through the skylight. Probably this here. And they're kind of none the worse for wear, which could have been illustrated a little better. That just kind of sucked all the wind out of the sails, really. Good room, though, for a basic high-tech room. So the dilettantes are going to have a meeting, because that's what they do best about how to proceed. And they're going over the current problems they're facing. Yes, they have the Robs outnumbered, but it doesn't really matter because they're not outnumbered by anything qualitative. You know, they stay here. Like, you know, yes, the future is a paradise, but the problem is that you can't make good soldiers out of, you know, the inhabitants of paradise. You know, most of them either, what do they say here? They sign up because they're bored or they like gold braid. So the fancy uniform. And they have been able to make a little bit of progress. They've destroyed about 175,000 rebels. But I mean, that's still a drop in the bucket out of 10 million. And meanwhile, the robots are basically walking uncontested to Central Rob, which is going to be the end of everything. We had a quick breakdown on the history of what's been going on, the power surge that gave the free will Robs their sentience. And Senator Klain kind of complains that, wait. Are we sure about this robot? You know, like, are you sure this is not a rogue Rob? And it's like, no. These have all these Robs have been replaced by newly manufactured robots since the power surge. So, okay. So who arranged for that? Security officers and robots. And we get the statistics here about the state of the free will Robs. So they figure an estimated 7.2 million free will Robs remain in normal service, hiding. So they're not all part of the insurrection, actually. Most of them are just confused and they're scared to present themselves. O1X has about 2.8 million, which is, you know, not as big a force as I thought. Still rather sizable and still way more than these guys can handle. And as for casualties on the human side, about 3,098,000 robots have been destroyed. That's not too much, I guess, although it's a much higher rate than the rogue robots. And out of the human commanders, 2 have suffered slight injuries, while 4 have fainted and 640 have abandoned their posts, because that's the state of the human defense. And steady arrival of reinforcements has kept rebel troop strength over 500,000. And at this point, the rebel Robs have infiltrated the Central Rob complex and are now fighting level to level, spire to spire, gaining rapidly in all but one sector, which is Major Timbuk, who is a guy who keeps showing up. He was the guy who jumped the gun in issue 1 and pretty much started the conflict, really. Or at least tipped it over the edge. And then he showed up at the end of issue 2 to try and take Magnus in, and that didn't go too well. And they're able to predict that Rebel conquest of Central Rob will occur at about 221. So there's no real question at this point. And the only option they're really left with, I mean, they can destroy the main brain, they say, the hub at Central Rob, which would basically put them back in the Dark Ages. I mean, that would work, but I they don't want to do that. And Legia's having her own little breakdown here, like, Magnus will save us. I'm in peril. Come on, Magnus, get moving. So Senator Klain changes his tune. And he's like, okay, well then let's do the negotiations then. I mean, obviously this is, we got to be able to work something out. And the president's like, yeah, it's way too late for that. They've won. Why would they negotiate for terms when they're the ones who can dictate terms at this point? And at this point, the president goes, you know what? I'm going to fuck off. I think I've had enough. I'm going to abdicate. So I'm going to go to my vacation spot on the moon. And you just let me know how you guys do. All right? Just like keep in touch. All right. See ya. That doesn't last too long, though, as the president does get assassinated like a second later. So, maybe if you decided yesterday, would have been okay. But the Robs have broken into Central Command here. And they're quickly cut down by Commander Timbuk. And they're the last hope for North Am. Well, I mean, there is no real hope anymore. The robots are just going to win. Magnus is the last hope. Just Magnus isn't particularly motivated to help out at this point. And here we got some Solar previews here. This is from Solar number 0, which is a 60-page issue that's been broken up and will be spread out over the first few issues of Solar. So you want to get all those issues of Solar so you get the Barry Windham. Yes, I fucking do. Particularly if it's got stuff like this in it. You know. And we got a few more cards here. Looks like somebody used this to get their copy of Magnus number 0. So that's kind of cool, actually. Good for them. We've got the Giant Rob from Planet X. Here. Slagger, not familiar. And T1 from issue 1. Well, and from the old Magnus series. I guess that's who these guys are from. And meanwhile, Magnus has had a chance to rest. W23 is helping him out. And they have a chance to just kind of bond a little bit here. So W23 is going to continue to be a presence going forward. And W23 intercepts a broadcast from OX1 stating that they're about to break through at Central Rob. And for all the on-the-fence free will Robs, yeah, you want to get down here and be on the winning side. And they point out that in Magnus's absence, the Robs have grown bold. So Magnus, I mean, he's still tired. He's had a bit of a chance to rest. But he's going to have to go back into the fray. And on his way there, he comes across like a flat deck with a dude tied to it. And goes to free it, gets jumped by this person here. I don't remember her name. But she says it's her ransom. And she attacks him until she realizes that he's Magnus. And she goes, oh shit. Yeah, you take that ransom. Okay, yeah. No, good luck. And Magnus runs off with the ransom guy. I don't know that comes back, really. Maybe in the next issue. And the giant sweeping Rob here is going to head off to Central Rob and just like, hey, where are you going? And it's like, oh, there's orders from Central Rob. I got a report from maintenance. I'm actually not sure at this point if they've taken over Central Rob or if he was a rogue Rob who's making his way back to help out. I think that's probably what the case is, considering that we just heard about the transmission. Oh, no. I lied. So this is Mimsy's strategy. Mimsy is the female officer here who was giving them the breakdown on the situation. So basically, yeah, she's recalled all of the Robs in in the area anyway. I was going to say in North Am. North Am is North America. I don't think she did that. And she's just going to throw cannon fodder at them and hope that that is enough. Just drown them in waves of steel, as they say. And that's around when Magnus arrives. He's able to swoop in and start with the smashing. Ugly colors. Which, actually almost works for the Goth level. But, yeah. That looks like watercolor or something. Yeah, Valiant's colors just are bad. And then we come back at 7:10 a.m. This was at 2:20, so they were a minute away from breaking in when Magnus showed up and started smashing. And we come back at 7 o'clock in the morning. Only Magnus stands. And some just guard Robs show up. Magnus doesn't even have the strength to hit them anymore. He just kind of directs his fist at them, and they're terrified, I think. And they're able to get him to a med center for repairs. But he was able to stop the takeover right at the last second. And when he wakes up, Alicia's there, and she wants to be the first thing he sees, because she's still pretty ditzy. And Magnus was successful, and the robot uprising has basically been stymied, where they've run out of their vanguard, essentially. They can probably get more soldiers together, but it's going to take some time. That was everything that OX1 had at the moment. And it wasn't quite enough to make it past Magnus. And Alicia is concerned because she keeps seeing a woman in Magnus's mind, and he has so much respect for her. And it's not that scientist baby keep talking to. He's like, no, it's not her. And who it is W23, actually. Who in this form, at least, I keep thinking of as male, because it's just, it's a genderless robot in a tux. It's, okay, so that's a dude then, right? Yeah. So Timbuk thinks all they have to do now is hunt down the Robs in hiding, and they'll be able to smash them all. And Magnus goes, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to smash anymore. And Magnus here, he relates more to the Robs than he does to most humans he knows. Because most humans he knows are stupid socialites like Leisha. where they're just interested in, living a life of luxury, and they don't, everybody else can take care of everything for them. Meanwhile, the Robs are all fighting for their lives, and Magnus relates to that. So Magnus is going to take off. Liege's like, but they'll take away all your things. And don't you love me? It's like, yes, come with me. And it's like, what? No, you should stay. I wouldn't. No. And she's the one. She sticks around. She's not going on the run with Magnus. So now we cut to a wildlife preserve. And O1X and W23 are going to be infiltrating these lands, because this is where T1 was buried. W23 helped O1X to escape the assault on Central Rob. And O1X is convinced now that the humans know about the identifying traits of rogue Robs, which is the little tremor that they do, which regular Robs don't. So they need to come up with a new strategy. So what they're going to do is they're going to dig up T1, because T1 has a transmitter, and he can override Central Rob's control over any ordinary robot nearby. And they can't reconstruct T1, although I think O1X would like to, but there are enough parts there where he can assimilate the broadcast capabilities of T1 into himself. So O1X is going to basically be unconscious and undergo this surgery while the repair unit performs the operation. I kind of like this shot of O1X with the helmet off, too. It's just like, yeah, this is just a cap, and underneath it's all circuitry. It's again, a little bit basic, but it's an interesting looking panel. And so W23 just has to keep watch while this operation is being performed. And while he's watching, the scrap girl from the Gothlands earlier shows up. And W23 first captures her. Nice shot. That looks like it might be from a photo, but it is well done, actually. And then realizes that she's got parts for sale and is, a scrapper. And okay, well, I'm actually pretty beat up. Do you think you could help me repair myself? Yeah, sure. Let's negotiate. And what happened to this Rob here? And this is O1X. And W23, when O1X was unconscious, killed him. Claims that he lost his mind. So that's it for the threat from O1X, I guess, right? And W23 takes off with a car full of scrap so that they can effect repairs. And meanwhile, LZ here, that's her name, takes a closer look at O1X. So really, W23 probably should have taken the corpse of O1X with them, but yeah, oh well. And Elsie here is going to see if she can repair O1X. Because why not? Another robot around can be helpful. And she's a scrapper. That's what she does. And Magnus is in the Gothlands and doesn't really seem to know what to do with himself. Does notice a light on, so goes to investigate. And it turns out there's a female Rob here. And that's actually W23. And W23 is going by Tekla now. And has basically altered her appearance to look like Liege. So I guess we can kind of see where that's going, because they do have much more of a connection than Magnus and Liege have, right? And they've helped each other out. They're, comrades, they're allies, all that kind of stuff. So there's much more of a basis for a relationship there than with Liege. And during their discussion, Tekla all of a sudden gets a transmission from O1X because LC repaired him. And Tekla left the T1 parts at the site, which was dumb, but I mean, it's a pretty good twist to finish on, because now O1X has the parts from T1 and is in control of Central Rob. And we're going to end with the message that O1X is sending out. I am in control thanks to the power of the legacy of the great T1. All 32 billion unfree robots in North Am are now under my direct command. The day of our kind has come, and the utter annihilation of humankind begins now. And that's a pretty good fucking cliffhanger, I gotta say. It's a little bit contrived, because, Tekla theoretically should have either taken O1X or taken the T1 parts, or both, really, when she left the animal preserve. But, I mean, for a twist like that, I'm willing to let it go, to be honest. And coming up next month, we have Chapter 4 of Steel Nation, Savior. We're going to see Magnus maybe fight some robots. That's a guess. And that's going to do it for Magnus Robot Fighter number 3. Not bad, I got to say. There is a lot of talking, but it does all kind of advance the plot. And I like how a lot of it is people talking over situations and offering solutions. Like, okay, this is why that solution won't work. Okay, we can pursue this one. Oh, that got, countered immediately. Yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns in this, which is pretty cool. And it's all going to come to a head in the next issue, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications so you know when the concluding episode is coming out. It's tomorrow, by the way. Click on the links and go and subscribe on my Patreon. That'll give you access to all the Blood Force stuff, all the pages and the comics, as well as these videos before they get uploaded to YouTube, usually a week or so in advance. Then go over to my Instagram, because commissions there are now open. But yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.